Check, check, test, test. Oh my God, guys, what's up? I have tried everything to make my hair look good today and it just looks like this. Hello. Yes, it's that day. It's Sneaky Balm day. I have been waiting in just as much anticipation as you guys for this to come to me in PR from my lovely friend, Miss Kiki G here on YouTube and the founder of Salt New York. She did not just send me the new Sneaky Balm. She sent me this PR package of just refreshed pans, a brand new palette. Now I have 2 large ones and a small one. And then just the loveliest note. It says, Kackie, you beautiful Aries angel. I hope you like Sneaky Balm and this scarf that my sister and I picked out for you at a thrift store and then sanitized to Virgo standards. XOXO Kiki G. Can you tell that she and I are kindred? This thing is just great. Let's put this on. I can like keep going with the Scene Kid vibes. If for some reason you have not been wrapped with anticipation and suspense in preparation for this video and you don't know what Sneaky Balm is, Salt New York makes these cream tint pros and, you know, my well-loved sculpt and bronze and highlighters and things like that. They work on a ton of different skin tones, skin types, they photograph beautifully, and they are meant to simplify the average makeup consumer's routine, average makeup user's routine. By default, it's going to look extremely natural. And that's what I really liked about these. And then she put out the adjusters, and there's adjusters in both formulas. There's an adjuster for the Cream Tint Pro and also for the Sculpt and Bronze. That's what they look like. At least this is the Sculpt and Bronze ones, and then I have the ones that I would use right here in my new palette. This is for the Cream Tint Pro. So, I didn't even tell you what Sneaky Balm is yet. She put out a foundation. A foundation, it is a complexion product. It is meant to be a complexion matching product for the sake of coverage, but it's called Sneaky Balm because it's supposed to make you look mainly like your skin is just fantastic without looking like you're wearing makeup. That's the idea here. I have also gone on my Instagram and asked you guys what questions you want answered in this video, because if we're gonna do it, let's do it. You know, I wanna make sure you guys get all the answers that you need. This is not and is never about selling you this product. It is about showing it to you as accurately as possible, short of you being able to touch it yourself, and giving you the most information to decide whether it is for you. So that is what we're going to do today. I'm gonna move y'all in and we're just going to do like a very intuitive face of makeup from my standpoint, like how I would typically use this product, but I am gonna demo a couple of different application techniques because those were some of the questions that I got. It's like fingers, sponge, brush, etc. Looking at the texture really close in HD, everything like that. So let's go ahead and jump in. Longest intro ever. Hi. I'm so excited to have this in my hands right now. Okay, actually, the first thing I'm gonna do is swatch all 12 of the shades. Number 1 being the deepest, number 12 being the fairest. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, starting to go sideways, Cax. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Which virtually disappears into my elbow because it is my shade. So there you have 1 through 12. All the shades of the new Sneaky Balm. We love to see it. Long before June 2020, Kiki as a makeup artist was using her platform and using her voice to draw attention to the fact that if you want to call yourself a professional makeup artist, you need to know how to work on every skin tone, and that every brand should be distributing their shade ranges equally among skin tones. And you can definitely see that in her shade range. So the best shade for me in her range is number 12 right here. But it is still more ideal for my face, my complexion, which, you know, that means that it's going to be sneakier. It's not necessarily a brightening product on me, but that might be kind of hard news for some people. You know, I think of like Hannah Louise Poston, who that does have a good bit of green to it, but it's not going to be light enough for her. But I mean, look at that. Look at it blend. Oh my gosh. Look at that. That is one thing that I was talking to my friend Sarah, Miss Sarah Crammon about. She's like, I wonder if the adjuster shades work with this. And I was like, that's a really good point, because I do want to have a little bit of brightening under my eyes. So I want to take a little bit of the white and just use that as the first layer underneath it. Anywhere that I would typically want a little bit of brightening, because they're just gonna kind of combine on the skin. Now I would never do this with blue, you know, but you could do it with, if you wanted to mix your own green or something like that in order to make something a little bit more olive. And that has been a couple of the questions, a theme of a couple of the questions that I got was like, is this really gonna work on olive skin tones? I am by no means an expert on olive skin tones, but as I was swatching those, I definitely did notice that olive was taken into consideration. I could tell because even though I'm yellow, olive flavored products tend to turn slightly more green on my skin. So that was a little bit of the white, like a little bit of the white. I want to start with a brush and just show you guys kind of the amount of coverage that you can get with the Sneaky Balm. So again, I'm just kind of starting with this little guy from Rare Beauty. I would want the most coverage right here. And it's like, if I were really thinking about it as a concealer, that was another question that I got. Is it more like a concealer or is it more like a foundation? I'm asking you to suspend your understanding of those two items being different and think more in terms of what color am I painting with, because the consistency of these behaves like skincare makeup. It just kind of sticks to your skin the way skincare does, in a way that you trust it. It's not like, oh, that's gonna move around and break up on me, because it's sort of just, it sinks in. And a lot of people are like, well, but it's a balm. Is that gonna be bad for oily skin? It depends on like how you prep your skin, because I really feel like it just feels like an extension of my skincare routine. So I think that that combined really nicely. Like if I really wanted to take a little bit more of the white, you know, on a brush like this and just mix those two things together, I could really build that. And the other thing that I found that was really nice about this is, since it does wear so thinly on the skin, and honestly, I just want to point out, you don't even necessarily need to have like lightening this in mind in order to mix white with it. It's more of adding opacity. But regardless, I found that it does tolerate powder really, really well. I used this new Jouer powder that I got, and it didn't get gummy or gross at all. I liked it very, very much. It's not gummy, it's not thick. All right, so that is a little combo just under my eyes. I'm gonna turn my light down so you can really, really see like real life. And that's really piling it up. I have very dry under eyes and they're gonna soak that up. But it remains supple. I won't say it remains dewy, but it remains supple. Is that good? Is that what it was before? I hope so. I'm going to try a sponge now. I haven't actually done that yet. So I did dampen a sponge. It's, Lord, it's somewhere. Where's my freaking phone? My freaking sponge, where is it? Everything falls on the ground and then there it is, it's on the ground. I found it. So that you guys can really see all the ways that the light's hitting my face, we'll just do that. So that's halvesies. Oh, it's so sneaky. Let's turn this down again. There we go. I genuinely prefer you guys seeing detail over you guys thinking my skin is perfect. What? Now, in order for this to be very sneaky, you probably I don't know. Some people might think that it is wrong for me to be applying it kind of everywhere, because the whole idea would be to just apply it exactly where I feel like I need it, and then the rest of my skin to just kind of show through. But I want to kind of demonstrate the more extreme circumstances that you might be in, because some people do really want coverage on their whole face and they want to know if this is going to be their new be all end all, you know? And you can see shade good, but a little bit dark. And so it's like, I do still want to take just a little touch of the white, give myself a little highlight moment. Is that a hair stuck to my face? And the dampened sponge works amazingly well. In fact, I do see Kiki work with, I mean, she can work with any tool, but I have seen her work with a sponge before. But very much like the Hindash palette, this is how I think. I just plunge a sponge into the munge. Is that a bad word? I plunge it into the shade that I want to use, not really thinking, oh, this is foundation or this is concealer. I would compare it the most in terms of that kind of behavior to the Kjaerweis. And I also got a question of whether the Kjaerweis, the pan of you know, complexion product. I got a question that was like, does the Salt New York pan fit into the Kjaerweis containers? I'm not going to demo that because it will make you lose sleep. It will ruin your entire day watching something come so close to fitting and not fitting. And I'm just really not about to leave that kind of just chaos free floating in the universe. If I don't have to, I will just tell you no, it doesn't. I did do it on Instagram one time and then everybody basically like was dissatisfied, even me, until I just videoed the right pan going back into the container, because otherwise everyone was just going to like unfollow me. So anyway, now I do want to demo a little bit of like what it would look like if you used color corrector, right? If I were to go in with tweet, 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 oh yeah. So if I were to take a little bit of like peach, right? Mix that with a little bit of white on the back of my hand here. It's gonna give me this like very, very bright pink color. Use that like right underneath my eye. See? Grab that, put it a little bit right here. Basically anywhere that I have kind of a little bit of sallowness. Again, it's sort of in that same live tinted kind of mindset, but much, 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 much lighter and easier for me to cover because my skin is much, 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 much lighter. And then I might take something like, I could make a green if I wanted to, and, you know, cover some of the redness and things like that. So, you know, grab just a little bit of blue and yellow. And don't worry guys, I'm not gonna do this all day like I did that one time. Grab a little bit of the white and use that to like cancel out just a little bit of my redness. But like custom blending your shades, it's for some people and it's not for other people, you know? If that's something that seems very, very troubling to you, just forget I said that, you know? All right, so wiping my brush off, I'm gonna go, actually, obviously, I'm going to use my sponge again, and I'm going to just use the Sneaky Balm on this side. Let's get real, real close for you here. On my arbitrary scale of coverage, because that was another question that I got, I would give this a solid 4. And I think you could build it to about a 5.5. But oh my gosh, is that pretty. So that's it, like covering the whole cheek, and that's it just with some color correction and kind of blended onto the spots that I feel like I would really like need it. And this really looks like I'm not wearing makeup. And the finish on it, everybody, you know, curious whether it is very balmy, dewy, very, you know, it's skin finish. And I really feel like it obeys whatever your skin is doing. Now, I don't necessarily know about like super, super oily skin. You might want to powder it a little but there are powders that don't add coverage and it will tolerate the powder, you know, within reason. It's not goopy, but like you can tell using this, I need to be able to see what I'm doing, that this was, I'm gonna use the word selfish, Kiki, selfishly devised to serve the greatest purpose for what it is that she does for a living, which is makeup for TV and film. Because you put it on and it doesn't look like makeup. And that's what you want when someone is moving around on camera. We're not talking about flash photography where somebody's skin needs to be completely matted out and drawn back on, and that's actually the best look for the flash photography. We're talking about somebody trying to look like a regular human, but just not distractingly, you know, underslept or something like that. So that's how I can feel that experience come through in this, because as I put it on, I go, I get that that's better. I get that that is improved, but I don't really understand how. Yeah, it added coverage, but not in a way that I feel like looks like makeup, you know? Okay, now I'm going to, you know, finish the look. Let's go first with some contour. Got a fresh pan of contour. Panna cotta contour, panna khaki contour. What? I was texting with Kiki and she goes, I just have one question for you. And I was like, what? She's like, why is all of your information under Kevin? And I said, well, when I'm getting packages mailed to me or doing anything as far as record keeping, I like to use my legal name. And then her head exploded. She sent me a voice memo where she just said, I am screaming! Because we have known each other for so long and she didn't know my real name. It's not a moniker necessarily, it's just like, that's, you know, the shortened version of my name that I've gone by my entire life. It's Kackie. All right, I'm going in with the light bronzer. I love the light bronzer shade because it has a little bit of peach in it. And so, it looks very, very natural on me. Oh boy, doesn't that just breathe life back into my skin? I am not a person with the skin tone or the complexion that looks really, really natural when it's completely flattened out. Some people can really pull that off and like don't need bronzer or blush or contour or anything. But like when you really blank my features out, like my freckles and stuff, I don't recognize myself. And I have worn this several days now because it's so quick. When I do wear it, like there's wearing in, there's wearing off, and then there's just like soaking in. I feel like this just kind of soaks in. And I think that that is really because, yeah, this was made to layer. There are things that are not made to layer that you feel like, you know, they won't build. And so when something does need to build, it needs to have a little bit of grip on the skin. And then it also needs to be thin enough that you're not gonna get a really like gummy appearance from it. I could just be done and that looks like me. That doesn't look like I'm wearing makeup. It just looks like me. And that's awesome. That's just a really great thing to have in my repertoire. And especially for those people who really think in those terms and have been in pursuit of that for a long time, it can be very frustrating kind of trying to shop the makeup market when everything is very flashy, showy, and you're just trying to find something that makes you look like you, even no matter how much of it you put on, you know? Now, it would not be my vibe were I not to also put on a little bit of her highlighter. Her highlighter in beige is like one of my favorite highlighters ever because it doesn't really add pigment or like take away from my blush or anything like that. It just reflects light. And it also obscures dark spots and like poorly blended lines and things like that. It's so easy. I do want to add like a touch of her raspberry shade, just like right on my cheeks, right on the apples. All right, bigger brush here, just dipping back into my Sneaky Balm, kind of cleaning up a little. Once I get all of that pigment down, I tend to kind of overcompensate sometimes. I'm going to show you how it does with powder. I do like the Jouer powder that I've been working with, but it's a little bit eyeshadowy. It's a little bit too iridescent for what I'm kind of going for today. So I'm gonna go with a little bit of Rare Beauty here. I've been really liking this one. And again, I always just kind of stamp a tiny bit of powder only to change the way that the light hits that spot, because I feel like shininess on certain parts of my face is just distracting. I want my cheeks to be shiny, but I don't really want my upper lip to be shiny. And I'll do it on my lids too, just to kind of base for whatever it is that I decide to put on there. All right, guys, this is the vibe today. Let's go on the website here and chat real quick, and then I will get to your questions. Salt New York can be found at saltnewyork.com and only at saltnewyork.com. Let us chat about Jan's Sneaky Balm. So I believe these used to be $18 a piece. They are now $16 a piece. Don't quote me on that. You guys know I'm terrible at remembering prices of things, but they're $16 a piece, and you get 0.15 ounces of the Sneaky Balm, and any other of them, I'm pretty sure it's the same deal. So like this is the Sculpt and Bronze 0.15 ounces. Somebody asked how it compares like one to the next. They're all the same, and they're all the same amount of product. Best practices for using Sneaky Balm. Remember, that's made to be worn as a tint and apply light layers. Lock down your skincare routine and be sure to exfoliate regularly with a chemical exfoliant. I am following directions so far. Apply moisturizer beforehand to prime the skin and even out your skin's natural oils. So that is unique to each individual person. You know, that's going to help the makeup work ideally for your skin, because you're using the moisturizer that works ideally for your skin type. Set lightly with translucent powder if you have oily skin and you prefer to keep the shine down throughout the day. If you like a dewy look, then feel free to skip. Vegan and cruelty-free, the sneakiest skin tint. A soft, dewy finish, long-lasting for hydrating skin tint type formula, not long-lasting compared to a matte finish liquid foundation. So let's say medium lasting. That's how I would describe it. Is, you know, it wears in instead of wearing off, but it more sinks in instead of even wearing in. They're chock full of nourishing, hydrating, credit score raising ingredients like pomegranate, jojoba, and grapeseed oils, and contain absolutely no zero nonsense ingredients like talc, fragrance, or mineral oil. That is one thing that I noticed wearing this about 3 or 4 days in a row, was that all of these spots that I'm treating with AHAs to have them kind of peel overnight and stuff to try and heal some of the acne that I've been having lately, this was so balancing, even in cold weather. It just kind of like hydrated them and made my skin better over a few days of wearing it in a row. You know, I feel like it was very skincare oriented. Vegan and cruelty-free, non-comedogenic, hand-poured in New York City. So fresh, so clean, so fresh, and so clean. Packaging, zero waste. We designed this system to be as good for the planet as it is for your face. And we have just a very, very simple ingredient list. Capra triglyceride, candelilla wax, kaolin clay. Okay, here we go. Sterylconium bentonite, grapeseed oil, jojoba seed oil, pomegranate seed oil, safflower seed oil, propylene carbonate, carbonate, and phenoxyethanol. May contain mica, titanium dioxide, iron oxides. It is just coming at it from a complete redefinition standpoint of like what to expect from makeup. I feel like it jumped the shark so many times. Makeup formulas have jump. And we're like, okay, let's bring it back to basics, but still make it perform. Because you guys know, I spent all of 2019 playing with nothing but clean beauty. And let me tell you, sometimes you can strip the details back too far, okay? And you can make it far, far too expensive for the lack of performance. So, you know, I am quite, as always, impressed by this, but I think that the best part is that it does exactly what I expected it to based on the swatches online and the way that she describes it and shows it in her video. Like it does exactly what I thought. There are no surprises. All right, my phone is here. Look at my new phone case. Oh my God. I got this on Casetify and I was like, this is super entertaining. I like it so much. And then it turns out this fluorescent green stuff that's washing around in there, it also glows in the dark. Welcome to Aquarius season, everybody. Let's look at y'all's questions and make sure I have satisfied as many of them as I can. Flexibility of the shade range. That is really hard for me to answer. I would definitely go to Kiki's videos for that and ask her on her social media and stuff like that, because, you know, it's all going to depend on coverage level. And I would highly recommend, if you are nervous about it being too deep or too orange or too green or whatever, either ask her and or check out the adjuster shades because they work flawlessly. Is it identical to Glossier Stretch Concealer? No, Glossier Stretch Concealer is slippier. It has silicone in it. I think it has silicone in it. Actually, I'm not totally sure. Don't quote me on that. Either way, Glossier Stretch Concealer stays dewier and it's thicker on the skin, but I would say they're fairly similar. The way that they kind of glide onto the skin and you go, where did it go? It's the same use case. Is there enough product for the money? That is for you to decide. It is 0.15 ounces and it is $16 and you can get discounts on, you know, bundles and whatnot. Occlusive, I don't think so. It doesn't have any mineral oil in it. It doesn't even have like castor oil in it or anything like that. And it doesn't feel occlusive. Does it have a dry down or stay balmy? I can't stand when makeup gets on everything. I mean, I wouldn't place my entire hand on my cheek right now because it's going to feel like skincare, you know, and it's gonna come off. I could lightly dust it with something and it would be not as likely to do that. But it's not giving me that thing that I complain about where I wanna claw my face off by the end of the day, where I can feel it still molten on my skin. It's not that. How does it compare to your fave skin tints? You know, it's very, very similar, like I said, to like the Westman Atelier or the Kjaer Weis. I didn't say Westman Atelier. I just consider those kind of one and the same in terms of use case because they are like a use it where you need it, blended into the skin finish, solid at room temperature kind of formula. And that translates to something that is kind of a different category from like a liquid foundation or something like that. So I don't know, it's kind of like the new Chanel one, or even you could get it as thin as like the Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint or something. But it's more like the Kjaer Weis or the Westman Atelier. Your opinion on the balm undertones or lack thereof? I think the undertones are phenomenal. I think she finessed the heck out of them. Is the fairest shade fair enough? I would say no, not for a lot of people. And that's why I mixed it with the white when I needed it. I am quite fair, but I am not the fairest of them all. I know that there are people who are fairer than I am, and it might be a little bit too deep / a little gray-green for you. Does it clog your pores or break you out? I had the opposite. My skin was better for it. Under eye creasing, if used as a true one and done face base, it's not heavy enough to crease. It's not heavy enough and it's not slippy enough. It's like not there enough, you know? Preferred application method. I actually really liked the sponge. And then if you need to, you know, pinpoint conceal and stuff, then I would go with a brush. Who do you think it is perfect for and who is it not for? That's actually a really, really great way to kind of close the video out with my final thoughts. Because, of course, like I said, this does exactly what I expected it to. It's not about the performance or lack thereof to me, because I knew exactly what to expect. I hope I set forth those expectations and I'm letting you guys know that like it absolutely met my expectations in terms of exactly what it said it was going to do, both short-term application, medium-term wear time, long-term my skin's benefits. I have experienced, you know, nothing but kind of positivity from this. Is it for you? Is the main thing that I want anybody to be able to get from this video, you know, past the actual quality of the product. $16 I think is a great price, especially when you're thinking of a foundation, especially when Kjaer Weis wants to charge you a lot more than that, but it's still $16 and it's still your money, and whether or not that's $16 well spent for you. I would definitely take into consideration the shade range, because there are 12 shades, which is great, but there are people fairer than me. There are people who are deeper than this. There are people who kind of fall between shades and things like that. Bear that in mind. Get as much information as you can if you're nervous about that. And then as far as the use case, the makeup user for this, did you get excited when you heard about it? Did you hear Sneaky Balm? It's invisible. It's going to be something that's light coverage and completely like zero learning curve. Did that excite you? Because it's like, I want to stick my fingers in it, I want to wipe it on my face, I want it to be seamless, I want it to disappear. Does that excite you? Then this is probably the product for you, because it nails it. It does exactly what I expected it to do with those expectations in mind. Are you someone who likes to really blur and cover your under eyes? Are you someone who has a lot of needs in terms of acne coverage. Even Kiki is very, very honest about the fact that like she had a really, really bad bout with cystic acne, but she found that when it came to covering it on a day-to-day basis, she would rather have some of it show through and skin look like skin than to just plaster it down and completely cover it, but it to just look really unnatural. And that is her preference. If it is your preference to have 100% opaque coverage, this is not the product for you. If any amount of dewiness on your skin drives you nuts, this is not the product for you. But my hair doesn't really want to stick to it, which is nice. It's sticking to my lip gloss. You know what I mean? Sometimes that happens with this stuff, and like cat hair will stick to my face and stuff. That's not happening here. And I didn't like powder my cheeks. It's thin enough that that doesn't happen. So I do appreciate that. Are you someone who has very, very long wearing expectations of your makeup? This is probably not for you. This is going to upend your expectation of makeup because it's just different. It's just coming at it from an entirely different angle. If the entire concept as it's been presented thus far excites you, I think that that is the customer that it is for. Especially if you really, really like the way Kiki does makeup. Because like I said, Kiki made makeup for the way Kiki does makeup. She's the one who inspired me to dial back my coverage level, to dial back, you know, my expectation of how much I wanted to like change my face on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, it's cool to have those tools in your toolbox to be able to flex when you want to just completely transform yourself. And that does exist in here. You know, you've got your contours and things like that, but it is very much meant to manipulate on the skin in a way that leaves you looking like you, leaves your skin looking like skin. That is my impression of it, and it's very, very comfortable, very comfortable. So I do have dry skin. I have, when I'm not in the sun, I have neutral to slightly yellow undertones, and I am almost 35. So, and I have Botox and filler. I mean, that's not really relevant, but I've got filler in my lips. But I just want to give you guys, like, if this is your first video of mine that you're watching, I want to give you like the lay of the land in terms of like what I'm working with. So that's what I'm working with. Yeah, guys, this was so much fun. I really was nervous. I'm always nervous when there's this much kind of hype around a product because I want to make sure that I very much answer the questions, but I feel satisfied with the amount of detail in this video, and I love the way my makeup looks. I really do. It's just me, but better, you know? So thank you to Kiki for being my friend when I was such a fangirl. And thank you for, you know, sending me PR and allowing me to share this with all of you amazing, lovely, wonderful people. Yeah, I hope you guys found this valuable. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you guys did. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. I love you guys so much. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!